give stories which tell tales of people doing positive things with a positive outlook on the future. Nobody turns to any media to look at advertising. Advertising has to slip into the medium you are consuming.
Welcome to all of you to the brand new episode of Icons Behind Brands, new video series which is back to basic in the time of uncertainty. So here we are going to have a conversation with some of the leading minds in the business, and today I have got an opportunity to have a conversation with one of the esteemed guests, a stalwart of the marketing industry who has a track record of launching brands like Tata Docomo and Minute Maid, reinventing legacy brands like Photon, Thumbs Up and Mazda, adapting global brands like Coke, Fanta, Sprites to Indian realities. With over 25 years of industry experience, he has worked with great brands like Coca-Cola, Tata Docomo and now in Croma. I welcome Mr. Ritesh Ghoshal, Chief Marketing Officer, Croma Infinity Retail. Warm welcome to you, Mr. Ghoshal.
Hi Devdina, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ghoshal, we have been seeing a very uncertain time from past 1.5 years, 12 to 15 months. So, I'm straight away jumping to a question what is the impact of COVID-19 situation in your industry, and how do you foresee it in the next 6 months down the line?
See, let me break it down in three parts. One is on the operational side. Obviously, it's been very challenging, and all of us in business are going through challenges. No one has prepared for, neither in our experiences before this time, nor in the the classrooms we sat through and did scenario building and what if scenarios, etc. Nobody was prepared for this. So operationally, it's been a huge challenge. Last year, to talk about our industry and our experience as Croma, just as we had got ready for the summer season with the inventory of the summer products like ACs, refrigerators stocked up, we were asked to shut shop, which created huge losses for us. Then as stores started opening up, we had to learn to work with the health SOPs to protect our staff from infection, to protect our customers from infection. So things like the CCTV in the store, things like the mystery audits we used to do for looking at customer experience in our stores. All the technologies and all the processes were sort of pivoted to focus on safety. Okay, so the CCTV is not looking at the attempted pilferage anymore. It is looking at whether the staff is maintaining the appropriate distance from each other, even while they're having food in the pantry, for instance. In the mystery audit, you're not focusing on whether people tried to upsell a power bank to you at checkout. You're looking at whether did the cashier use sanitizer before swiping your card? Did he offer you sanitizer after you swipe your card and stuff like that? So it's a very different way of operating we had to get used to. Operationally, that is one. On the demand side, actually, the shift in COVID times has been to our advantage as electronics. Whether it is things which help you work from home, go to school from home, or even enjoy the longer time you're spending at home. All of it comes down to the categories we deal with. People want to watch movies at home, so televisions, OTT, sound systems, everything, picks up in demand. People are able to shop less frequently, so you need larger refrigerators. People are now, using multiple rooms in the home through the day. Therefore, you need to put an AC or a cooler in more rooms. Everything works around to, something we sell being in a stage of stepped up demand. So from a demand side, it's been a challenge to keep up with the requirements rather than a challenge of scarcity of demand. There are other categories, of course, which are struggling with demand. Apparel, grooming, cosmetics, which are caught on the other side of the demand. The changes in consumer behavior. We have actually benefited on that front, and that brings me to the third challenge, which is the supply chains. Globally, there is a shortage of the components that go into creating the products we sell. Chipsets are in short supply. I mean, you may be aware of PS5. It's a fantastic product, gaming product, in desperate short supply for the last so many months. There's just not enough chipsets. Unless things change in some way, we are going to be faced with prolonged shortages of laptops, smartphones, anything that uses your chipsets, Intel or AMD, whatever the chipset might be. Chipsets are in shortage. So linked to that, another problem which has appeared on the supply chain side is this, the global repivoting away from China. So while India has a Make in India kind of initiative going, even otherwise many companies across the world are trying to reduce their dependence on China as the source of components or the finished product, which also will result in disruptions in supply chain. Perhaps some months of shortage, and then supplies will resume and stuff like that. So this is another kind of uncertainty that we are working with in our industry. So these are the three large buckets of change we have had to adapt to.
Right. And I could completely relate to that very personally, because when you said ki we had to buy new stuffs, and also when we completely shut down at home, then we started thinking of buying another laptop for the kid, so that they can
Right.
for online things. And for the seniors, now they're not comfortable with the phone, so again another laptop for them. So yeah, I could completely relate how the demand has also changed here, right?
Yeah.
So in this uncertainty of pandemic, the marketeers from all the industry had to navigate a very different landscape, as you mentioned, right? So how, as a marketeer, do we best respond to this situation, Ritesh?
See, I think first and foremost, the first thing any brand that has a relationship with its customers should do in any kind of crisis is keep the conversation going. Okay, because people like hearing familiar voices. People like hearing from the brands they love. Through the course of such crisis, people like getting a message of affirmation that things will turn around, things will improve. And I think a lot of the brands have done a good job. I particularly like the work Coke has done in terms of reassuring people that yes, things are bad, but things will turn around. So what Croma also did was similar. In the period last year through April, May, June, where there was zero business to be done, what we did is we used all our social and digital assets to keep the conversation going with people, talking about the positive impact the shutdown, lockdown was having on the environment around us. There were all these stories of people being able to see the Himalayan peaks from Ambala, Saharanpur, etc., or people being visited by penguins in their peacocks in their housing society, or elephants on the golf course in Munnar. These are all stories that all of us saw in social media. Since Croma has always had a conversation in terms of responsible consumption and disposing of e-waste properly, etc., we sort of link these two phenomenon together, and we created a campaign around sustainable consumption. So, essentially saying, things will come back to normal someday. But what we are seeing in the environment today should give us hope that things can turn around if we behave a little more responsibly in terms of how we use all the good stuff that technology makes available to us. So that was point one. Point two is when stores started reopening, how do you reassure, how do you provide a safe environment for people to shop? B, how do you reassure people that you are taking all the right steps and they should feel safe if they come to Croma? And the third thing is, reduce the need for people to step out and come to the stores. So a lot of digital initiatives in terms of, being able to talk to store managers from the comfort of your home and purchase without visiting the store, shopping online. Even we started a video store on Croma.com, which allows you to, via video link, take a demonstration at a dark, specially created for the purpose. This was another thing which we started during lockdown. Interestingly, even after the stores opened up, this continued to be something which was pretty popular. And unfortunately, right now, even the video store is under lockdown because it's in Bangalore. So we are not able to get staff into that store. But till it was operational, it was growing 20-25% week on week, and we had started doing some around 15 crores of business a week from there. So it's a popular service which we discovered because of the lockdown, but it's something which has relevance in a world where people are hesitant to step out, and equally the vast majority still uncomfortable, spending a large sum of money without final look-see of the product.
So I see, because of this pandemic, because of the behavioral change, we as an industry, the marketing as an industry, we have got an opportunity to evolve in a very different level altogether. Like now we are talking about the real things, real needs, thinking about people's need. So just coming down from the superficial world and talking about the real needs. So that itself is taking marketing in a next level. And I see a great future in quality marketing in the next few years.
See, a good marketing campaign actually, reflects human behavior or human aspirations. And the pandemic has been like a, reset button. It's like a control alt del on our lives.
Yes.
Like I said, and there are very fundamental changes people are going through in their lives. For instance, a lot of people are interrogating the work-life balance they enjoy. In my team, in my organization, I see a lot of people who are currently working from home in their hometowns, smaller cities across the country. And honestly, a lot of them are questioning, why should we ever come back to Bombay? Why should I, resume existence in a covered shed passing off as a 1 BHK when I can live a comfortable life in the city I've grown up in and be equally productive? So work-life balance, and I see, people like Lodha building on this insight where they're trying to sell, larger homes in distant suburbs of Bombay rather than focusing on, the Upper Worli and New Corporate kind of places. Because where people want to stay, what kind of place they want at home is a fundamental change. Rebalancing, the hours of the day between work and leisure is another huge piece. I see a lot of companies have started doing these, creating unwinding days or, unwinding periods of the day. If I give you my own example, I start the day at 9 a.m., I end it at 6 p.m. Same as if I would go to office. And enforcing that discipline has actually given me a lot more, far better sleep at night. Because, you are still zoning, even though this physical space is the same, you're creating that, virtual separation, that firewall between this is office and this is home. A lot of decisions like this people have taken. I mean, a lot of people have turned to becoming chefs and getting creative in the kitchen, because in the first lockdown ordering in was also not allowed. Okay. Yes. Food deliveries were a problem. this time around, while food deliveries are allowed, there is a sense of hesitation, at least in a lot of people I've been talking to, about ordering in. Instead, you order the ingredients, you do your own creative stuff in the kitchen. Again, that's a behavior that once you have arrived at, you will likely not go over very quickly. One other interesting thing is this entire thing of, if you look at COVID behavior, people wearing masks or not wearing masks. I see a lot of people refusing to wear masks. Okay. To start with, maybe before the second wave and after the first wave, people were, sort of okay with other people not wearing masks.
Right.
Okay. I think now the time has come when people almost look at him as a mask murderer when a guy is not wearing a mask. It is not your choice anymore. You are a bad citizen if you are not wearing a mask. You are a good citizen if you do mask up. So, India has always been a very chalta hai kind of place in terms of civic behavior. The price the society pays for this kind of, civic indiscipline, I think has come into sharp focus in the second wave. The environment could be dealt with in a better manner. Okay, it was a clarion call for, if you want blue skies, you better, conserve your, the amount of time you spend in fuel guzzling cars. The second pandemic and the second wave, what it has taught us is, you better call out the guy who's not behaving properly in society, because the price the society pays and the economy pays for that one misbehaving guy who refuses to comply with what is clearly the right thing to do, that has come into really sharp relief in the second wave.
I was reading an article on we all are not safe till the last person is safe, so everybody has to be safe.
That's correct. And the mask is really not to protect yourself from others, but to protect the world from you. You are the villain if you're not wearing a mask is the message that needs to go out clear and loud to everybody. That's when the world will be safe.
Completely agree. So it's a completely behavioral change and cultural change which has happened in people's mind and in their lifestyle too right now, right? So and a lot of outside forces in the industry, in people's mind, and a lot of trends also. So Ritesh, my next question is also very relatable, very close. So how these outside forces and trends are impacting your industry, as people from all demographics, all region, every culture have moved drastically to the digital part. So
Right.
on the consumer behavior side.
See, like I said, number one, the world started going digital in India with the coming of smartphones. Okay, starting with Airtel celebrating, the universalization of access to communication with their campaigns in the time of 2G. And then you had 3G, and you had some fantastic idea campaigns about kids going to school from mobile phones,
Yes,
etc.
yes.
All of which are precursors of what we are going through right now. Okay, I mean, we are actually literally going through that idea ad as life today.
Yes, you reminded me that idea ad. Right.
What an idea, Sergi.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is, the pandemic has only accelerated things and sort of, leapfrogged us into a world where digital is far more important than it was earlier. In our category, if you see, people already wanted a smartphone. Now they need a better smartphone. Okay. I helped my driver upgrade to a 23,000 handset because his kid needs to both go to school on that, and you can't have a phone which the battery does not last. And how did I help him do that? There is a phone, there is an exchange on the old device that Samsung is offering, and there is a finance scheme that Bajaj Finance is offering on the new device. Okay, so this entire ecosystem play is what really a retailer does. I mean, nobody can unlock the potential of India for digital on their own. A brand cannot make stuff cheaper for India than for the rest of the world, because the supply chain is the same. But the fact is, in India, per capita income is much smaller. Uh, there have to be retailers like Croma who have, a vast network, low overheads, and therefore, people, can get a good deal there on the latest technology. Uh, People like Croma have to tie up with, the robust ecosystem of, second-hand market for devices and components that exists in India, so that we can give a good exchange value on the old obsolete device. Uh, People like Croma also have to work with finance companies, banks, etc., who are working very hard to create, credit scores, reliable credit scores, which will offer people like my driver, okay, or my maid to get stuff on credit. Okay, so people who may not be able to pay 25,000 at one shot, but can pay 2,000 every month over the next 12 months. And this is really the unlocking of the digital potential in India that we are looking at right now. So Croma had started expanding into smaller towns before the pandemic happened. Croma had started enjoying business online from not just smaller towns, but places we have not even heard of, even before the pandemic happened. And of course, Amazon, Flipkart are doing a fantastic job in terms of serving customers across 6,000 pin codes in the country.
Right. And how are you engaging the customers right now, offline and in the digital space both? If you can just help us with few examples.
Offline is very simple. We have stores. Okay, each of our stores is like a totem in the catchment. Okay, we put a lot of money into putting stores in a place where they will work like the best coding in the city. We put a lot of money into the signage, the facade. We plan what the customer will be able to see of the store when they're outside, so that you are able to attract them to step in. That is one part of it. Equally, reality is most people start their browsing or window shopping experience online. Okay, so while 90% of my business happens in the store, 90% of the people coming to the store are first being online looking for products. Okay, and in the pre-pandemic space, it was largely Croma.com where people were going, checking out the product, and then coming to the store. During the pandemic, what has become more important, and where even people who are not traditionally very digitally savvy have started looking at either the Croma site or visiting the the Google My Business page of Croma stores to see whether the store is open, what time is it open till, what are the reviews people have, are they being served well in a safe environment, and also if possible make an appointment. So through the course of the pandemic, we created an appointment booking module on Croma.com. We also created a callback module for the store manager. And one big advantage that Croma has over other offline or online retailers is we are able to tell people exactly where the product they are looking for is available. So let's say you're looking for a particular model of refrigerator or television or mobile phone for that matter, and you're sitting in Malad. I can tell you whether the product is on display in the Malad store or it is on display in the Bandra store. Okay. Which is a very useful service, because you don't want to spend too much time on the street and go across 3 stores looking for the product. I can tell you right when you are at home, what you want to look at is available on display in this store. And these are things which people found especially useful during lockdown. The communication plan really, like I said, for the stores perspective is essentially keep the stores open as long as possible, keep it lit as long as possible, communicate the availability of the stores, etc. by the Google My Business page and on the Croma.com site. Coming now to the digital part of things, we have a fairly active conversation with our prospects and consumers on digital media like Facebook, Instagram, and through pandemic, as OTT has grown as a habit, we've also experimented a little bit with YouTube videos. And that apart, the other thing which we discovered during pandemic is the power of the local language, because I think a lot of non-traditional people turn to digital media Therefore, it also translated into a heightened appreciation for language content on digital media. So whether it is print ads or Facebook posts or YouTube videos, when we started doing a lot more of the activity in social media on local languages, that is where we saw a lot of appreciation from the market. And so the campaign we ran really is to connect with the customers was around lockdown diaries. So everybody has a lockdown story. You can have stories which are of optimism, or you can have stories of pessimism. I mean, there are unfortunately just too many stories with a bad ending these days. What people need more of are stories with a positive ending, or positive ending हम दे नहीं सकते हैं, right? Because we are unfortunately just retailers, we are not doctors. Okay, so all you can do is give stories which tell tales of people doing positive things with a positive outlook on the future. So our lockdown diaries were around mothers who made their kids more engaged in the living, converting the dining table into a TD table for them to play a game of table tennis, or allowing a daughter to join her dance class or a music class using the television, creatively creating a birthday party on Zoom, etc., via Zoom call, etc. So things which are celebrating human ingenuity, which we have seen a lot of during the last 15-18 months, and celebrating a sense of optimism, that things will turn around, and to make, just to connect it back to the point about local language, for the first time we engaged a language copywriter. Actually, he's not even a copywriter, he's a friend of mine who's very good at Hindi. Okay. But we got original stories written in Hindi, because Hindi has far greater flavor when you translate into other languages as compared to English. So typical English medium brands like Roma, what we tend to do is create in English. The agency guy is a guy who's most comfortable writing in English, and then you give it to a translator. Right. Okay. And your way of confirming things are okay is to do a back translation, and essentially what you don't know is whether the flavor of the story is retained or not. You know whether the story is true to what you're trying to do in language, but you never know what the flavor of the story is. The mood of the story, for instance, might be totally different. So that is something we craft by going local language. So original stories written in Hindi. Actually, original stories were written in English by me and in Hindi by my friend. Okay. And we got the translator to work on the Hindi and work it into local languages. And this was really our campaign through Festive, and I think we did really, really well, because not because the sale was good. I mean, it happens when sale was, like I said, our category is in a situation where we are actually helped by the pandemic because of the thing. But the way the audience responded to the shares and tweets and whatever that you look at in social media as impact of the campaign, it was pretty spectacular, very, very gratifying.
Right. So yeah, the conversation has taken a big shift according to the minds of the consumer behavior. As a human being also, I have also become a lot more creative in terms of engaging myself in the house and engaging my kid and my family also in the house. So there are a lot of things which we have never thought of doing it, and we are doing it. So definitely a lockdown diary is something where people connect it a lot more. A lot other brands are also doing it, master chef, home chef competition and all those things. So yeah, it is giving an opportunity to emerge a lot more creativity from yourself. Right?
That's true.
Yes. So what is your preferred medium of marketing pre-COVID and the time now and going forward?
I don't believe there is such a thing as a preferred media. I mean, you have a customer segment who you are interested in talking to, and you have to essentially understand how he's spending his time. Okay, it really starts with who is your customer, जो दिन के 24 घंटे वो तब क्या करता है? Because nobody turns to any media to look at advertising. Advertising has to slip into the medium you are consuming. So if today newspaper reading is transferring to the digital medium through InShots or whatever, then you have to be in InShots. Okay. If TV viewing is shifting to OTT, then you have to be in OTT. Okay. Yes, from a storytelling perspective, video works better. So whether television or YouTube or Hotstar, I mean, that's the way to plan for good storytelling. At the same time, if you want to impart important, urgent, actionable information, print medium works best. Print medium today also translates into Twitter or InShots for that matter. Okay, so there is a power to the spoken word, and there is a power to the written word. The two are consumed differently by the same person. Okay, and historically it has been the difference between TV and print, but today within digital media also you have different opportunities as well as goal sorts emerging. So video goes on to YouTube. The equivalent of text advertising goes into Facebook or Twitter also, and InShots, of course.
Ritesh, now we are moving to a very interesting section that is a rapid fire round where you need to answer with one word, right? So, one brand that you admire the most apart from your own?
Sprite.
Sprites. Okay. One book or podcast you would like to recommend the marketeers?
Browser. I would rather recommend an author, P.G. Wodehouse.
Okay. One of your hidden talent?
Teacher.
One thing that surprises people?
My frankness.
Something that you have done made you extremely proud of yourself?
Started Docomo.
Awesome one, Ritesh. Few tips, tricks, hacks or knowledge would you like to share with the young CMOs who are building their team now?
So I would suggest to look at hiring people who are enthusiastic, curious, and above all living the same life as you want your customers to, because empathy is very critical to developing good marketing campaigns, and that's the surest way to get it. So if you're going after a young audience, you either need to have a young team or you need to have people who understand young people the best. That would be one. Second is always follow the data. Marketing can be creative in its outcome, but marketing has to be based on insight. Otherwise, there will never be any ROI to the investments that you make. And the third thing is always back your instincts, because the other mistake marketers often make is get too obsessed with the data, and therefore end up reflecting the data in their campaigns. That's not the right approach. There has to be a leap, because all good marketing campaigns, and I'm not just talking advertising and storytelling, therefore good marketing campaigns get noticed because they're different. And to be different, there has to be a strong element of creative, and that element of creative comes when you back your instinct.
Absolutely agree on that. So I'm just looking at the marketing right now, and we are just going back to the basics again and again. So that is something which we cannot leave when we think about a creative marketing and a rich marketing, right? So yes. So Ritesh, your message to the marketeers, to the aspiring brand managers, to the startup owners who are looking forward to a marketing right now.
I would say, and this is based on observation. It's not a critique of any individual startup or marketer. I think there is too much focus on getting noticed today, and too much focus on which KPI are you trying to drive today. I think brands are built not by advertising, but by the brands fitting into the customer's life and solving a problem in some way. And that problem could be, functional, therapeutic, or even, like I said at the beginning, something as touchy-feely as brands want to hear a familiar voice when they're going through a crisis. And that's the example I gave about hope. It need not be a functional problem that you're solving, but what is the gap in your consumer's life you're trying to address? What is the proposition you're trying to communicate to address? Rather than just the shock and awe of the story and the short-term impact you're trying to create in your advertising. Yeah.
Awesome. So a lot of takeaways from you, Ritesh, like personal takeaways as well as a marketer, as a brand professional. I have got a lot of takeaways from your side. So my personal takeaways again, like go back to the basic, follow your instinct, follow your intuition, connect with your customer, look at their needs at this point of time. What is the need of the hour, and go ahead with your marketing strategy, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. Always.
having you, Ritesh, here, and it was very insightful, very on point answers, and a right conversation at right point of time. Yeah.
Thank you, David.